All right, welcome back, everyone. Sorry, we had some slight technical difficulties there getting the stream up. We are back. We have the bands in, and we have the opening pick from the United States, T1G. It's Double Time 2.
It's an interesting starting point. I don't know that I would expect this to be a map that anyone would be like the most comfortable with. So this week's DT2 is a very, very old map. I want to say it's from 2009. Very uncomfortable, kind of has that older style of uncomfortable stream patterns and some kind of hex grid mapping. This is a throwback, and this is, I suppose if you're the USA, you've got some players who really enjoy the older maps, right? You've got Bashi coming in, you've got Fancy Lad Utami, who are really good at these types of things. So I think a reasonable, if you're looking at it holistically, surprising to see this as a first pick regardless, but a reasonable pick in the United States' favor. I definitely think this is going to be one that they'll be pretty confident in winning.
Well, here we go. Opening pick of the match, United States on to Double Time 2. It's Bashi Man, Utami, Fancy Lad, and Rectagon against Mr. Potato, TYTY, Sip, and Painted Koala for Israel. An early miss for Mr. Potato.
It's interesting because TYTY I don't think he was present for qualifiers. He didn't play a single map, so I'm guessing he just was not there. Mr. Potato, Painted Koala, and Sip were three of the main performers in the qualifiers for Israel, although unfortunately Potato and Painted Koala both breaking early on. They get joined by Fancy Lad, but USA just going to be out to an early lead on this and going to see how long they can hold on to a few FCs in the early goings.
Yeah, a couple very early breaks there from Israel, but that trade from the United States, that double miss from Bashi and Fancy Lad will allow Israel a chance back into it in the early going, a quarter of the way through, and they actually have a chance to flip the score lead.
Yeah, it's TYTY and Sip against Utami and Rectagon, but Mr. Potato and Painted Koala both do have longer combos than their opposite numbers. Rectagon with the next break. Wow.
Israel out in front. Hey, we've seen this with the United States before against a 32nd seed. But Mr. Potato is going to find a miss from Israel, so they'll be putting the brakes on the train as TYTY also goes down for Israel, so that's big. Only Sip and Painted Koala remaining for them.
Yeah, that lead went up to 100k, though. The score gap was going towards the Israel side, in a decent manner. Kind of coming through this middle third of the map, the scores start to really get bigger and bigger. There goes Fancy Lad. It's got to be Sip holding, though. That FC matching Utami is Painted Koala. Oh. And that's right at halfway. Yeah, you don't want to miss.
That's a brutal miss, yeah, close to the last third of the map here. And it is, as you said, Utami versus Sip. But the backing combo is on the favor of the United States. But that double miss is going to change things for Bashi Man and Rectagon. Israel now have a chance to hold a gap here. Looks like it's about 50k.
Yeah, there's really no backing combo for Utami on the United States side. Mr. Potato and TYTY both holding. Oh my goodness.
Israel!
Not everybody with the 5-0 picks in pick'ems is about to be doomed on the first map of the match.
And Utami is being traded by Sip in Israel. We're gonna do it. Sip goes down. No FC. But is there enough time for Utami? I don't know. Coming into the closing sections of the map, can they steal it back from the Israelites? They cannot. Israel break point 1-0. Pick'ems destroyed.
Oh my god. All right. If you saw that coming, you're a prophet, I guess. United States drops their first pick as the 1 seed versus the 32nd seed Israel.
And Mr. Potato states in the chat, we got a point, that's all we need. Look at that mindset.
I mean,
Israel has already won in their mind.
You come into this match and you're just hoping for the best because obviously you're the biggest underdogs possible if you're Israel. Wow.
And Nomad won. I mean, hey, that's not a bad pick from Israel. Let's go coin flipping. Okay, Mr. Sunshine will be the opening pick from Israel. They lead 1-0, a chance to take a 2-0 lead against the number 1 seed, T1G.
If you're gonna pick anything to try to take the 2-0 lead here, it's gonna be Nomad 1. Like you said, it's always kind of a coin flippy type of map. We talk about the Nomad 1 slot being a little bit RNG because it's basically just who has better consistent aim on that given performance on that given map. And it's really easy to just one miss in the middle, and all of a sudden your 950k is 600k, and that can be the make or break.
This is not the first time the United States, being the number 1 seed, has dropped the point to a 32nd seed. They did so against Turkey, but the thing to note about that is Turkey won their own pick when they took a point against the United States. This was a break point.
USA, I mean, they lost the 1 point against Turkey a couple years ago. They lost a point against Malaysia a couple years ago in first round. You know, after they won 5-0 in the opening match last year, I thought maybe they'd ironed out the kinks, whatever it was that was causing them to lose picks to the 32nd seeds, because they've been the number 1 seed every year there's been qualifiers. So whatever it was that was causing them to drop points to these 32 seeds, I thought, you know, maybe they've sorted it out, but evidently that was just not the case. And Israel, plucky underdogs, make the most of some poor performances from the United States by their standards.
And really just held combos when they needed to. That was the key difference maker there. The U.S. just were not the more consistent team on that pick. But now Israel with a chance to open things up here and make a little history. It's Nomad 1 for Israel. It's Mr. Potato, TYTY, Sip, and Painted Koala. No substitutions against Utami, Mungo 2K, Taquito, and Rectagon for the United States. Just 2 substitutions there.
Yeah, this is the aim consistency roster for the USA. I think you would typically see Decaten in for this, but of course with him not being here, Monko is a more than worthy replacement, very good aim player. Over on the Israel side, it's the roster they ran on Nomad 1 in qualifiers with Sip coming, or with, TYTY coming in to replace Galog, who was actually their top scorer in qualifiers in Nomad 1, which is a little interesting to me, but we'll see how it goes for him. This is a little higher BPM than most Nomad 1s you'd see in an RO32, so we'll see how the players handle it. Shouldn't be too much trouble.
An early miss from Mr. Potato is all that separates us right now. United States with a slight lead, but as we've seen from the previous map, an early miss does not mean anything if the misses come in midway.
Yeah, and worth noting is that this is the longest map in the pool, 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So there is a ton of time for things to swing back and forth. There's several sections of the map where, you know, your aim consistency really gets called into play. Obviously, there's a little bit of free combo just because there always will be in a song that fits a Nomad 1, but any of those multiple aim sections kind of in the key eye times are going to be places where anyone can miss just because that's what happens on these slots.
Yeah, it's about a 30-40K lead here for the United States. Not a major deficit, but they hold it over a quarter of the way in. Sip is going to be finding a drop there, just a slight miss aim, and that is going to start to open things up a little bit more.
That's the sort of place, like I was talking about, you get those slight increases in spacing in the jumps, and you just under-aim ever so slightly, and there you are, your combo's gone, and you're 600 combo behind all of a sudden, and the United States is able to make an 80K lead out of it like it's nothing.
Yep. Now already approaching 100K, but still over 2 minutes, nearly 3 minutes remaining. It's quite a lengthy map.
Yeah, looking at the accuracy, United States feeling pretty confident. You can tell they've only dropped a total of, I think, 2 100s versus, 98 on Sip, below 99 on TYTY. So it's going to help just a little bit more. Every bit counts when there's not a lot in the map.
Halfway mark here, so we're going to pay attention for some misses here. They could be detrimental, but one thing to note is that Mr. Potato's miss was very early, so Israel are essentially rocking 2 3/4 full combos here.
Yeah, he's less than 100 combo behind the FCs. So, like you said, really not the worst case scenario on that miss. It's the Sip miss that's the one that really does matter, and that's miss from DYTY. And again, a break at the exact halfway mark, especially on a Nomad 1, is extremely damaging.
Yeah, because it's not likely that we're going to see any misses come out here unless it's in the key eye in the latter half. And now Israel are basically going to need the United States to fall apart here to lose this deficit. Still possible, but they will need to see something soon as the U.S. are still 4-way.
Yeah, I mean, any break can still swing this, but it really has to be quick. There's Utami. It's traded.
Yeah, but TYTY just missed earlier, so it's not as bad. And Mungo's going to drop again. Taquito drops. Rectagon's the only one left. Here comes Israel. Wait. They're going to have to hold out. Yeah,
there's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And this is why Nomad 1 is that really volatile slot, because you can break just like that at the 2/3, 3/4 of the way mark with a huge lead, and all of a sudden it's comebackable if your opponents are holding on to big combos or FCs, and you've got Painted Koala matching Rectagon plus Mr. Potato on that near full combo.
And Sip supporting.
It's 200K, it's coming back slowly, but there should be enough time for Israel here.
There just may be enough time. Taquito finding another miss. That's going to speed things up a little bit. Now it is definitely doable. Taquito chain missing now. Rectagon is the only hope here for the Americans. Utami and Munko desperately trying to build some combo. Israel might be able to pull off another miracle, but TY misses.
It's not even, no, he's not the important one, though. It's Pain and Koala on the FC, Mr. Potato on the near FC, Sip on a 1K combo. It's about to go over.
It's going to get close.
3K, it's dropping.
Israel for the steal, for the 2-0 lead on the number 1 seed. They've got it. Israel, Sip drops. That's not the one that matters. Israel just needs to hold. And they have done the work. 2-0. Wait, no.
It is.
Now it is 2-0 by 15K to Israel. The comeback.
I'm speechless.
Okay, now for sure, there's no way anyone's pick'em for this match is left intact.
Yeah, it's gone. Anybody,
it's 100% gone.
It's done. I mean, this is why you pick Nomad 1 as a lower seed into a higher seed. That is the reason. That displayed everything about that sort of pick that makes it winnable for a lower seeded team to upset. Israel just held the combos longer and avoided those crucial late breaks. Rectagon had an SS and it didn't even matter.
It didn't matter, yeah. Just didn't matter. And, you know, we say this almost every time we talk about a huge seed disparity matchup, T1G, and that is the fact that if you're the lower seeded team, the early game, your first 2 picks are what matter the most. You have to convert something and get on the board to get some momentum. This is the dream scenario for Israel right here. They're up 2-0. US has the pick. I mean, I don't think anybody saw this situation coming from the start of the match.
Absolutely not. I mean, your best case scenario, I think, if you're the low seed here, is winning your first pick and losing your opponent's first pick, because they're probably the best picks that either team has. They got a break point and then won their own first pick. I don't remember the last time the United States dropped a break point to anyone until like the winner's final. It's just something that doesn't happen. And now they go into, honestly, USA picking free mod 2, which is the speed free mod, which is not the worst thing in the world, I don't think, for Team Israel.
Yeah, considering how they did on that opening round 1 double time pick, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. But what the US are probably banking on here is now they've got to switch something up, right? This has gotten serious. They're down 2-0 to the 32nd seed. They need to change something up, more mod flexibility to maybe change the rosters and get more players in. But what I kind of don't like about this, T1G, is that allows Israel to do the same.
I don't know how to feel about anything in this match anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard to have a feeling about this match when it started off and just the script for this match, as expected, has been flipped completely on its head.
The spreadsheets, the notes, the Google Docs, all worthless at this point. Everything we've been working on for this match, out the window. And here is the first substitution for Israel.
FXXYX.
I want to say Foxy, but...
yeah.
FX?
So he was in for DT picks in the qualifiers. He came in for DT2 and DT3, which were the tapping heavy picks. So that is a logical substitution to have them make here. Mr. Potato, Sip, again, you know, just kind of the lobby warriors staying in because they can play everything in this stage. I am also looking at TY. Again, did not play in qualifiers. Team squeaks by, and he plays the first 2 maps and they win both of them. And now he's in for the 3rd as well.
I'm more concerned with how to pronounce that name.
FXXYX, yeah, that does not roll off the tongue.
I'm just gonna go with FX for now until we get. But
that's fine.
That's all we can do. Israel's got some great names for casters: Sip, TY, FX. Thank you, Mr. Potato, for bringing some semblance of normalcy to your team.
Wow. USA on their own pick, overmodding to Oblivion.
And oh man, I don't know how to feel about anything anymore, man. Because this could backfire. I mean, you know, obviously the mod advantage, and if you're the US, you definitely want to overmod a little, right? You know, you want to play your skill gap some, but this is a little bold. Utami on the HDHR. Maybe they're just looking to make a statement and get some morale going back on their side, because I think that is what they need more than anything right now.
Yeah, I mean, it still feels so risky though to overmod even on an early stage pool. Like, just your margin for error drops by so much when you have you don't have that no-mod anchor player who you just know is going to put up an FC. But on a map like this where it's, CS3, so the hard rock isn't, it's not making it like CS 6.5 or anything. It's not anything too terrible. And when you have FXXY really struggling in the intro. And there goes TYT as well.
That was a pretty hefty drop there. Missed out a whole stream. US still looking good. Taquito is going to be the first drop for the US. They still have 3 FCs, though, to 2 on Israel's side. But this has been the story of the first 2 maps.
Yeah.
FXY still struggling. It's a lot of trades.
Taquito on the hidden it's probably the toughest mod on this map. I think the hidden, it's relatively dense at 230 plus BPM, and air was only 9.1. Sawada with the break as well. I mean, he's kind of unfortunately a little bit known for that sometimes. It happened in qualifiers, and it happens here and there for him in matches where he'll just kind of find random breaks. But FXXY Mr. Potato breaking means that USA aren't going to be uncomfortable in this map at this point.
Yeah, this is a massive score margin. Unlike the others, this is now over 400k. SIP is going to be dropping, and this is looking like the first point for the United States. Still only halfway through, though. But Israel just can't seem to hold any combo aside from TYTY.
Yeah, this map is so consistently challenging in the same way, right? It's all triples and quints with a couple of longer bursts thrown in that, like, it's a good predictor of how the rest of the map will go if somebody breaks, on those patterns early on, and that's kind of what Israel's doing. They broke early on, and they're continuing to have trouble in the same fashion. And yeah, this one's pretty well out of reach. This is what we expected from the United States. Like, this isn't even anything for them to celebrate. This is just what should have been happening this whole match, ostensibly.
Yeah, they're going to run away with this one into the final quarter. The lead cut in half, but Israel will have a chance to respond to their pick and maintain a 2-point lead if they can convert it.
Yeah, the question will become, how do you respond to this pick if you're Israel? You got the breakpoint, you got the Nomad 1, but what else kind of fits? And I think the answer is probably going to be Hard Rock 2, if I had to guess before the map has even ended at what the next one is going to be. But USA bringing this one home. Honestly, like, it's a decent score. It's not an amazing score from USA. It's good enough to win by 1.4 million in this matchup, but I don't think they should be incredibly happy about that. They didn't have a single full combo.
Definitely a rough one, but nevertheless, it's good enough to get the job done against Israel. It is 2-1.
Yeah, it gets the point on the board. It rights the ship for the 1 seed here, but that's still not a performance that they should really be pleased with. Against a team that was a little more comfortable or confident on tapping, that would not have been such a one-sided affair. But we'll see what Israel does.
Yeah, that is the question now. How will they respond? You mentioned they may try Hard Rock 2.
Yeah, and the reasoning on that is just that Hard Rock 2 was tied for their best performance in qualifiers. It was not a 6.5 in qualifiers, so it was a little different style of map, but if they do feel comfortable with that kind of precision, and it's a little bit more of a basic aim.
Ooh, Hard Rock 1.
Okay, well, still in the Hard Rock pool, I was half right.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you got the mod right.
I don't know if that's really much to write home about. Hard Rock 1 is not your standard Hard Rock 1 that you would have come to expect from previous years, right? This one is not an aim map. This is pretty... It's a lot of tapping, and it's kind of tech-y. It has some tech elements to it with the slider aim and the finger control. So that makes it really interesting coming off the back of how poorly that DT3, or that DT3, Fremont 2 just went for Israel.
We do see Painted Koala coming back in for FXY on the side of Israel. Boshi Man in the lobby for the United States. Rectagon as well. They wait 2 teammates. And a relatively short Hard Rock map here, just over 2 minutes in length. So yeah, again, you see Israel maybe trying to pick onto the side of the shorter maps because the Americans just have not been as consistent today.
Well, that kind of goes both ways, though, right? I mean, the Nomad 1 was 4 minutes long, and it played to Israel's strengths, so the USA wasn't as consistent. So, I mean, that can go either way. This one is relatively consistent in difficulty. It's just quite short. I feel like this is kind of risky, but if you're comfortable with the pick as Israel, I mean, no reason not to go for it, I guess. You know, it's one of those where it's a team we're not as familiar with, and so their skill sets aren't ones that we're quite as familiar with.
And at this point, you're in a situation that you probably they didn't even expect to be in themselves, honestly. So if you're Israel at this point, you may just say, hey, this is the map we're the most comfortable on right now. We don't care how good the other team is. We just know this is what we can do right now. It's not a bad strategy.
No, and, you know, USA had notably Hard Rock won in qualifiers. They 4-wayed. It was a very different map, but they had Decaden in for that, which I guess is how his name has been pronounced, so I will be corrected on that one. And he is not here. So it forces the USA into a slightly less comfortable roster for a Hard Rock 1. Obviously, Bashi, Rectagon, Utami will be fine on this, but Fancy Lad coming in for this type of map is a little less common. So it's kind of a fill player a little bit for the USA. And if Israel knows that that's what they're going into, that could also help explain why they're picking this.
Well, here we go. Round number 4. Israel's pick, their second of the match. Fancy Lad, Bossy Man, Utami, and Erectagon for the Americans against Mr. Potato, TYTY, Sip, and Painted Koala for Israel.
And this one comes at you pretty quick and really doesn't let up. A lot of bursts and some slightly longer streams, as well as a whole bunch of slider aim. Not of the super difficult slider aim variety, but enough that it makes you sit up and take notice.
Rectagon and Utami now finding misses. 2 early misses for the Americans. Fancy Lad is also down. That's 3 combos down for the Americans. But the ACK on the side of Israel is keeping the Americans in front. They're kind of struggling here, but they will start to take advantage once the combo builds.
Yeah, that combo lead is already big enough for Israel to take the lead. I'm really shocked, honestly, at the United States' performance here. Fancy Lad breaking again, and meanwhile, it's still a 3-way FC over on Israel's side. Their accuracy is really not helping them. This could be a huge lead if they had better ACK, but TYTY in the slow section, that is big. They still have the advantage on FCs, but they're gonna have to go back to work building those combos because the Americans are rebuilding. TYTY once again struggling in that slow section. As you said, these bursts, and it's a short map. We're already halfway through. Mr. Potato finding a miss, and now here come the Americans. Second half of the map. This section is like really difficult with the way those bursts are mapped. They're on top of each other, those quints in these patterns, which is kind of why you saw Mr. Potato and TYTY both breaking. There goes Sip as well, so USA is just going to run away with this now. It was a really nice start for Israel on this pick, but just not able to maintain it into the last third of the map, it looks like, unfortunately. Yeah, they kind of fell apart right at that halfway mark where you don't want to fall apart. Bossy Man, the FC, is going to go down for the Americans. Utami found a miss earlier as well, but one of them is traded by Mr. Potato, and there is no combo for Israel. Running out of time. Final 8th of the map. Yeah, USA is going to have this. Fancy Lad and Rectagon have enough combo that they'll be able to hold off Sip and Painted Koala pretty comfortably. Again, it's going to go down as a win for this pick for the United States. And as they say in golf, there's no pictures on the scorecard. But this is, again, the United States just not looking their best by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, it certainly was a rough one, but they get the job done as Israel just kind of fell apart right at the halfway mark, and that is what did them in. They had a great start, but unfortunately, it's the finish that matters. 2-2. Yep, 2-2 and back to the United States pick. So we're back, it's a 0-0, right? And now we just kind of have this best of 5. Right. And I believe the United States was saying that they were pre-picking DT3. I don't know. I couldn't tell for sure if that was serious, but I would expect it to be after the way FreeMud 2 went. DT3 is another higher BPM, fairly stream-heavy or tapping-heavy pick. So I think that leans into USA's strengths against Israel again. Yep, and there it is. Double time 3 for the United States. Looking to gain their first lead of the match. On the 5th map in the round of 32. Words that I didn't think I'd ever be saying, and yet here we are. So we go back to the classics, Senya DT. That's a really OG sort of DT artist. We used to see a lot of Senya maps, DT1, DT2, DT3, any of them, depending on the song, can fit. This one of the highest star rating maps in the pool, other than, I think, Fremont 2 with Hard Rock is the only thing higher star rating, quirk of the new star rating system. And that indicates that it's very tapping heavy at 240 BPM. It's going to be, I think, another one where USA can just kind of flex their superior mechanical muscle. We'll see how it goes. Looks like Sawada, Takedo, Tommy, Rectagon, pretty standard tapping map lineup for the USA. Israel running Mr. Radio, TY2I, SIP. It was FXXY as the fourth player on the Fremod speed pick, so we'll see if he comes back in for this one, and he does.
Also, we've been told that apparently TYTY's name is pronounced Tai Tai.
Which, my brain, I mean, it kind of does. Osu players just have this habit of making their names either very strange things or unintuitive things.
We need to change registration to when you register for this World Cup, you have to type your pronunciation.
Oh my gosh, that would actually be really convenient. I mean, you know how like on NFL they do the player intros, like they say their name in the school they went to. We need, Tai 5180 Israel. All right, in we go. USA looking for the first lead of the match. They better do it, because it would be scary for them if they don't.
Yep, looking for that first lead here on the Autobahn Remix Double Time 3. I'll take an early lead here. Off of accuracy. Takedo and Tommy coming away with SSs at the start, as well as FYX. Or FXY.
That guy with those letters in his name that make it difficult to pronounce. And of course there goes Mr. Potato as well.
Yeah, the one that missed, yeah.
And there goes Tai Tai.
Yep.
All right, so we've got SIP against 4. And
not a good position for Israel.
This is how we expected this match to actually go. This is a return to normalcy for USA. A 4-way full combo against 1 FC from the other team and a 400k lead at 1/3 of the way. Like, this is expected performance.
T1G happy to see some normalcy here. But you're absolutely right. This is what everybody was anticipating coming into this. We just got an insane round 1 from both teams on their first picks. The US now dominating here on double time, as most people kind of thought.
Yeah, USA, kind of built up their speed a little bit this year, adding Sawada to the roster and bringing Rectagon after his tournament ban expired. Takedo did find that first break, yes, but still pretty comfortable. Of course, Utami, a very solid speed player as well. You lose Arison from last year, but bring in Sawada, which he's not Arison, but he can fill the shoes pretty competently on most things. He's proven that here, 99.41 AC FC.
Into the final quarter, it is only a formality now. The United States up by over 1 million points. Will most definitely be taking this one away, and they will have their first lead of the match at 3-2.
And this is going to be maybe a 4-0 score here, or at least close to it. Takedo broke at kind of an unfortunate point in the map, but it looks like they do make the 4 million mark. Rectagon with a late break, but Utami brings things home with the SS. As a player, like with a pitcher on a perfect game, you don't talk about it until it's already been done. And he accomplishes that feat. And USA looking a little bit more like themselves on that pick.
3-2 they lead. Israel now will have another pick. A chance to tie it up. Quite the performance out of Utami there. SS. We have not seen too many of those, oddly enough, this weekend.
I think we had one in Indonesia, Finland, I want to say. There was an SS, I believe.
It was Fumo, right?
I think that sounds right. I was
And I
about
think-
half awake watching that match. I just
think the
remember an SS.
monocle from Singapore also popped off. I think he had an SS. But anyway, back to this match. Israel. So they've got no mod 4, all of the hidden pool, and 1 double time, 1 hard rock, and 2 free mods. You have to wonder, do they go hidden? It just has not been picked.
I don't think you pick hidden into the USA here. Qualifiers, they lost hidden 1 to USA by 1.5 million and hidden 2 by 1.8 million. So I'm gonna say you don't pick hidden against the USA if you're Israel, and it makes me kind of surprised the USA didn't pick it themselves. And we're gonna free mod 1. So it's the Alden free mod, which is the slightly uncomfortable aim free mod pick. This is kind of akin to, it's a little more similar to the hidden one, right? Not like your comfy wide angle aim. It's got some linear jumps and such in it. I kind of would have rather seen maybe Hard Rock 2 than Free Mod 1, but you know, it's a map you can Hard Rock pretty comfortably, so not the worst case scenario. Israel just didn't look great on the prior free mod that was picked though. So it's a little surprising to see them go back into that pool when they have players who maybe aren't, you know, like not a super comfortable mod roster.
We'll have to wait and see, because they did not overmod at all on the previous free mod.
Yeah, it was bare minimum 1 hidden, 1 hard rock versus USA. Obviously, all 4 players picking at least 1 mod, and Utami going hidden hard rock. Now this one, I suppose, maybe lends itself to just going 1 hidden, 1 hard rock more easily. I don't feel like that's necessarily true though. So this is going to be an interesting one. I don't really know what to expect for the mods from Israel. USA could overmod again. You can go, or you can just go, you know, Taquito hidden Recteon hard rock and have a couple of no mods on it.
So it's going to be Fancy Lad Taquito, Utami Rectagon against Mr. Potato, Tai Tai, Sip, and Pina Koala. Israel have only made 1 substitution for, I think, 2 maps, bringing in FXY.
It's interesting to me that Galog played all 11 maps in qualifiers, and he has not played a single map today. He is here. He joined and left before the first map started. That's very strange to see something like that happen. But obviously the roster they're running, you know, has been keeping things pretty close for the most part, other than that last map. So let's see here. What do we get? Oh, as expected. Okay. Oh, whoa. Okay. Utami's going to hidden hard rock again. Interesting.
Yeah, so we've got a hidden hard rock on top of the requirements for the United States, and just a single hard rock on top of the requirements for Israel. So it'll be a slight mod advantage for the United States, but if Utami struggles, that will put Israel up.
Yeah, the overmod, as always, feels a little risky, but it worked out the first time around for USA, so obviously not feeling too bad about keeping that up.
Oh, very early mistake for Rectagon in those little bursts.
Yeah, first 20 combo. We get into the map proper, and you kind of can see these aim patterns. They're not wide angle, they're not linear, they're somewhere in between. And there are some of those, like that back and forth linear jump you just saw. It's a lot of patterns kind of like that. So it never really lets you get super comfortable with this style of map. And honestly, I feel like that favors USA over most teams, because they typically are a roster that's very good at uncomfortable aim.
And Pena Koala finding several misses, and another one right now at the start. So Tai Tai also going to be finding a miss. That is 2 FCs down. The Americans still rocking basically 3.5. Rectagon missed very early.
3 5/6. Don't check my math. I have no idea. Yeah, Tai Tai and Pena Koala are just not having a good time. They're straight up having a rough go of things, unfortunately. Mr. Potato and Sip are keeping them alive.
Rectagon is going to go down, so that'll slow things up for the United States, but I feel like now, especially given that miss from Rectagon, it's really all on Utami, right? Because if Utami misses, that's going to be the most harmful thing for the Americans. But Tai Tai and Pina Koala continuously struggling is going to put this one out of reach.
Yeah, it's really a tough ask to try to come back in a map when you have a player at 93 AC that's not been able to build up any combo and a player who's not super far ahead of him. It's unfortunate because Mr. Potato and Sip are playing this very, very well, holding the double FC. But when you're against a triple FC on the other side, it's just like an insurmountable obstacle in front of you.
Yeah, and they are starting to run out of time. They're going to need like a double or triple miss to come out from the Americans right now. We're getting to the final third of the map because that is over 500,000 points. They will not be able to flip it unless they get some misses.
And I just don't, even with misses, it would have to be a complete meltdown from USA at this juncture. You know, Mr. Potato and Sip, as we've been saying, like, keeping their hopes kind of alive until the point of no return. And I think, unfortunately for Israel, that point has been passed.
And now it is gone. Mr. Potato with that miss is going to definitely seal it.
All right. So, USA, they actually just wanted to ruin everyone's pick'ems. They completely just... I don't know. I don't want to say through because you never want to make that sort of a, you never want to make that sort of baseless assumption. But they had a really rough time on the first two maps, and they've won 4 maps in a row now since then. Israel, I don't know that this was necessarily the best pick considering how Tai and Painted Koala ended up doing. Though Painted Koala actually recovered okay, but with Tai having as much trouble as he did, like if you don't have a 4-man roster for an early round map, it shouldn't really be on your radar for a pick. And against a team that pulls out a triple FC, it never really made much difference anyway.
And it's going to be 4-2 United States. They will instantly pick Hidden 2.
Yep. Well, what do we say, before that last pick, right? The hidden score discrepancy in qualifiers was massive between these two teams. USA, I think with their top 2 scorers on Hidden 2 in qualifiers, probably could have 2v4'd Israel.
Oh,
and then some.
We've got a new player in Accelerator for Israel, stating he is here to carry.
So, guess what the only map Accelerator played in qualifiers was?
Let me guess. Hidden. I'm gonna take a wild guess.
He played 1 of 11 maps in qualifiers. It was Hidden 2, and he was their top scorer on it. And
there's Galog. All right.
And we get Galog in. Let's go. All right.
No, this is Israel's plan. They didn't pick him because they wanted the Americans to eventually pick it so they could get another break point. They've just activated their trap card. That's what's happening.
You are huffing some mad copium right now, my guy. I am here for it. I am here for it because, I would love for Israel to get another point, but I just don't really like their chances very much, unfortunately.
Listen, man. Listen. We didn't know what was going on in rounds 1 and 2, all right? it ain't over till it's over. This is a spooky match.
So this Hidden 2 is a very straightforward map. It just happens to be AR8. It's got, some streams, it's got some aim. It's a classic Nissan AR8 Hidden. And I think honestly if it was going to be any Hidden 2 for Israel to have any sort of chance in, it might as well be this one, where the reading component isn't quite as high as it might be in a later round with tons of perfect stacks and overlaps and things like that.
I think what gets me about this one for Israel more so than the map is the length. Just over 3 minutes, nearly 3.5 minutes. You have to be well-versed in the mod to stand a chance here against the United States, but they have shocked us already twice this match. Do they have another ace up their sleeve?
I wouldn't put it past them to be able to play this map, at least to some degree, but what that degree is going to be the question. You see, Taquito, the hidden specialist in, you see Utami, who's great at reading, Bashi, who's partially on the team for this type of map. So USA's roster, pretty scary on this pick. Israel's going to have to put up their absolute A game if they want to have a shot. But hey, they've done it twice, right? Why not a third?
So far, everyone looking good. The U.S. just leading off of accuracy alone at this point. Utami does drop, so combo advantage Israel. But that accuracy will be keeping the Americans in the lead for now. That combo advantage, though, is going to start to drag things. Israel in front. Quarter of the map gone. Tai. First miss for the Israelites.
And that was just a straight miss aim, too. I mean, it was just a little back and forth jump pattern. and he may have misread it and thus aimed wrong. Hard to say exactly, but that was a really unfortunate way to break at that point in the map. But it's still 3 FCs to 3, so I mean, this is still balanced.
Look at these accuracies. Tai and Bashi both seem to be struggling a little bit in terms of accuracy. Tai just more so than Bashi, so we may have to keep our eyes peeled for a miss. Halfway mark coming up. Accelerator goes down. Oh no.
Missing in the slow section halfway through has been the downfall of Israel at least once. Remember back to that Hard Rock 1, and it's Tai and Accelerator. You know, who was the one to break in the middle in the slow section on Hard Rock 1? It was Tai. Unfortunately, gonna happen to him again here.
Those slow sections with Hidden, man, they just give you a false sense of security, and you lose track of that beat for a split second, you have missed. And this Accelerator going down now. It looks like Israel, they put up such a good fight here in the first half. Galag still playing phenomenally, as well as Mr. Potato. But with a quarter of the map left, and that score deficit growing, Israel is going to need a miracle. They are going to need a complete meltdown from the United States.
Yeah, it has to be a 4-way reset for USA. That's about the only possible chance for Israel at this point. There's not a lot of time left. There's going to be running out of combo. And with Galag breaking one of their remaining 2 FCs, that's pretty much going to seal the deal for the Israelis, unfortunately.
And Mr. Potato
falls as well.
That will do it. Israel, though, they came, they saw, they destroyed everyone's pick'ems. But the United States are going to come back with 5 unanswered and take this one away. 5-2, the final score. A very respectable performance from Israel today.
Yeah, I am incredibly impressed by what we saw from Israel on those first couple of maps. Taking 2 points against the overwhelming tournament favorite #1 seed 4-year-in-a-row champion United States is no small order.
And in the same fashion both times, at the last possible second. Getting an incredible comeback. Israel able to hold consistency on the second half of those first 2 maps. Really something to cheer about. I'm sure it'll be a great moment for them to go back and relive. But the United States are your winners. They will move on to play the 17th seed Singapore in the round of 16 next week. Israel will play Japan in the losers bracket.
You feel for Israel, man, putting up that kind of show against the United States and being met with Japan in their first match in losers. And I just want to say real quick, the way Singapore played today against Japan versus the way the United States played in those first few maps against Israel, USA's gotta step things up, or they're going to be in trouble earlier in the tournament than they've been in trouble in a long time.
They are able to rally, though, from the 2-0 deficit to get the 5-2 win today. There are your winners on screen. Moving on to the round of 16. So, coming up next, I believe, is going to be Canada against Chile at the top of the hour. That's going to be in roughly 10 to 15 minutes from now. So don't go anywhere. I believe we're not going to end stream. I believe we're just going to take a short break. And we were going to be back soon after. T1G, final thoughts on that match?
Israel, 2 points off of the United States. I mean, that's as many points as they've lost in round of 32 in like the last 3 or 4 years combined. It's an amazing sight to see. It's really cool to see teams that you didn't expect to make it in, getting in at the 32 seed, putting up a show, and making their country proud. I'm really happy for them. USA is still the USA. They can reel off points like it's nothing, but they've definitely got some work to do because that was a little suspect in those first 2 picks. But it's the USA. I think they'll get things together. And, you know, just the best of luck to Israel in the losers bracket, and best of luck to USA in next round and winners.
And they are definitely going to be a team that will scale better as, you know, the map pools get more difficult. So kind of actually the round of 32 is where you can see these top teams drop unexpected points because the pool is just easier. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it's easier. And you can see these low-seeded teams just calculate their picks right and get it done as Israel did today. They got 2 points, not enough for the win. But Canada, Chile coming up in 12 minutes, so we hope you join us for that one.
It's a beautiful place.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2022 OS World Cup round of 32. USA victorious over Israel just recently 5-2. I'm Doland, and I'll be joined once again by T1G.
You thought you'd be joined by T1G, but it's me, Dio. I'm the co-caster this time. Welcome.
Oh.
And it's a pretty good matchup for this time around, Dolan. It's a pretty good matchup. It's Canada versus Chile. I think this would have been a very, very interesting match last year, but this year Chile's roster taking a big hit and just a couple of swaps on Team Canada, mostly the same from last year, that roster which finished fourth, qualifying fourth again this year. Xylus Curtis, Nick Rupertian, Ryuke, and Saryi, their two subs from last year, and Zudinator and Yip. Chile with a rebuilding year this year. Yuna, Gonza, Mochaccino, number 37, Poncho, Suntan, Enable, and Chalk Gamer for their roster.
Yeah, lots of changes here. Most notably Chile without Matthew. Canada, though, still looking strong and actually one of the favorites to go deep into the tournament. I think some people maybe have Canada sneaking into top 3. I think I've seen some people predicting that. They definitely look like they could do it this year. But starting off against Chile, we've seen some exciting stuff already in the round of 32, Dio. No sweeps yet.
No sweeps. We've already had a tiebreaker. We had the very interesting 5-2 match between the USA and Israel just now. I think this is going to be a matchup where you kind of expect a similar result as we saw in USA versus Israel, maybe a little bit more one-sided. There's a couple of things that Chile has the potential to take points off of Canada on those two things, I think, are going to be the hidden pool, specifically that low approach rate hidden, and the DT pool, specifically something like the DT3, maybe the free mod 2 as well. They're a good speed team and they're a good hidden team, but on the hard rocks and no mods, as well as things outside of the raw speed maps like the DT1 and the DT2, you're really going to prefer Canada 9 times out of 10 on those types of picks, and you're going to expect them to outperform Chile by a pretty wide margin.
All right, so Canada going to be banning first.
I'm honestly expecting, the hidden 2 ban from Canada. This is a team that has a really, really good speed roster. I don't think they're going to be too scared of Chile on a lot of the speed maps, but I think for this Canadian roster, you're lacking a little bit of the low approach rate reading in terms of, fielding a 4th player to really make sure that you have a super solid roster for that sort of pick. And for Chile, I feel like they really just want to ban out a hard rock or a no mod here and get rid of one of those types of maps that they know they lose by a pretty wide margin. And then just try their hand at the hidden 1, some of the double times, that free mod 2. They're going to go with the free mod 1 as a ban. I think that's a fine ban for Chile. It's a very, very awkward aim map. We saw it in the last match between the USA and Israel. It's definitely something that Chile does not want to be playing in this matchup.
And Canada will get things started with the opening pick of this match. We await the decision. So, there's definitely a lot of options here for Canada. They certainly look good on free mod. They're always a team that's been able to handle free mod quite well. But have to bet that they're going to be going into the speed-oriented picks here.
They've definitely got a very good roster for stuff like the DT1. Given how close Chile can make stuff like the DT3, I don't know if they'll be picking into that, but they do go for a different type of aim map. They're going to go into Hard Rock 1. And I think that's a relatively good pick for Canada. In the Hard Rock pool, in qualifiers, Canada had a 1 million or greater advantage on both Hard Rock maps in qualifiers. I think the lowest advantage they had was like 970k or 920k on Hard Rock 1 and Hard Rock 2. So, very, very good pick for them here. This map, a little bit techy, a little bit of slider aim. Not hugely slider aim focused, but enough that it's there and you have to pay attention to it. And for a team like Chile, who struggles on the aim consistency to begin with, that extra bit of slider aim and burst heavy focus in this map is going to make it a real challenge for them to put together consistent scores. So really like the pick from Canada.
Yeah, but for some reason the client is saying this is Chile's pick, but it is definitely Canada's pick. From the player chat, so we'll have to get that fixed, but waiting for the rosters here, still waiting for Chile to get a 4th player in the lobby. This is now a great time to tell you guys that we have banners in the OS store available for purchase if you would like to make your profile look cool and support your favorite team as well as the tournament. You can get a banner in the OS store for $2.50 plus tax. And it'll be on your profile for the duration of the tournament, and if you guess the winning country, it stays on your profile longer.
Can also now directly support the World Cups. There should be a donation link to directly support the World Cups if you want to do more to support your favorite players and the OS competitive scene as a whole. You can donate directly to the World Cups, which is something that is new this year, specifically for the World Cup 2022. So if you do want to support the World Cups in general, as well as specifically the OS World Cup, make sure to do that in addition to those banners if you are feeling so generous. And now it seems like we have got just about everybody. It looks like we're having some trouble getting unable onto the tournament server for Chile. Yeah, it looks like they are missing a player that they want to have in for this map, and he is not on the tournament server. So hopefully we'll be able to get him in shortly and get started with this matchup. And there's the swap. There's all players in. Very, very good aim consistency and hard rock specific roster for Canada. Xylus, Zudinator, Recursion, and Ruke in for them. All very, very good. Either Hard Rock players or AIM players or both. Yuna, Suntan, Chalk Gamer, and Unable in for Chile. A lot of their fill players in for Chile on this one, either Hard Rock or DT mains or fill players for this map, which makes a lot of sense. Again, this is really not what they like to play for Chile.
Hard Rock won the opening pick from Canada. We are underway. It's a very short one, just over 2 minutes. So don't blink. This one will be over shortly. Recursion will find the opening miss very early. Unable trades. Chalk Gamer as well. So advantage Canada.
Saw a miss right at the start from Zuniator as well, but that is everyone gone for Chile. Yeah, I was talking about Chile having some troubles with aim consistency. I didn't think we'd see it this quickly into the map, but here we are.
And Canada already pedal to the metal. 3 FCs, nearly 4. Ryuke is going to drop one of them, but again, Chile is constantly finding misses. They have basically no combo. The Yunhan with the biggest combo on the side of Chile, only at 240. And again, Chile just really not having a good time on this as Xylus and Zudinator put up the clinic halfway through.
Yeah, this is what you expect when you get high seed versus low seed on the high seed's first pick. None of that breakpoint nonsense we saw in the last matchup, just the high seed demolishing it right here. More than double score for Canada on their first pick. Xylus, Zuninator, and Rupersion largely to thank for that really high score margin. Rupersion going to find another break here about 2/3 of the way through, but it will not matter at all. This is already over a 1 million score lead, 3/4 of the way into the map with what is essentially 2 full combos left on Xylus and Zudi. Very, very early slider break for Zudi in this map.
And that is pretty much going to seal it at this point. There is nothing that Chile can do on this opening pick. It's going to be 1-0 Canada. Xylus will not make it home with the FC. It's all on Zudinator. Final section. She brings it home.
She does finish it out. Not quite a million score for Zudi, but well over a million score. The difference there on Hard Rock 1. Look how far that red bar is over to the left. 2.9 million to 1.3 million, more than double score for Canada on that one. And yeah, that's what you expect to see in this sort of matchup on Canada's first pick. Chile very clearly uncomfortable with the Hard Rock, with the aim consistency, and with some of the intricacies of a map like that is a little bit trickier than you would typically expect in the Hard Rock 1 slot. But Canada really, really taking advantage of that and setting up Chile for a tough matchup, that's for sure. Setting them up for a tough match as we get into what is probably a hidden pick or a speed pick from Chile. Yes, Canada is also good at those, but that's really all Chile has going for him in this matchup on paper. So I very much expect Chile to pick into those, despite them being typical strengths for this Canadian roster.
Yeah. When your skill sets overlap, there's just nothing you can do. It's just kind of a tough spot if you are the player or team that's not favored. But you have to pick into those skill sets because it's the only shot you've got at getting a point.
Yeah, Canada not really a team with weaknesses to abuse, and we are actually going to get something I didn't talk about too much, but this pick does still make sense for Chile. It's low approach rate and high circle size in free mod, and this is a roster that is very good at that low approach rate, specifically on hidden. But even if they have to have one person on Hard Rock, they can afford one person on Hard Rock and let everybody else take that low approach rate for Chile.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is definitely the more unconventional free mod pick of the pool. As you said, AR8. We've seen a lot of teams that are comfortable on the way are hidden. They will also go to this. We see Yunha, Suntan, Gonza, and Unable already in the lobby for Chile. They're ready. Canada still getting their roster together. Xylus and Zudinator are going to remain in the lobby.
Definitely expecting Unable to be taking the Hard Rock for Chile on this map. Also would expect number 37 to come in for this. He's a very, very good reading player and was their best scorer on both runs of Hidden 2 during the qualifiers. That is that low approach rate Hidden. So there we go, number 37 and Gonza, the two players to watch out for on this low approach rate map for Chile. Suntan as well, generally an all-rounder, probably taking the no mod on this sort of map. No, it's Yuna actually coming in. Maybe going hard rock, maybe going no mod, you never know. Basically preference for that player. And Unable absolutely taking the hard rock for them. On the side of Canada, it's Xylus, Zudinator, Repulsion, Sorry. I'm thinking hidden only for Xylus and hard rock for everybody else. Hidden hard rock maybe for some of those members on Canada, as they all prefer that hidden hard rock. Maybe a no mod for Sorry, who is still relatively good at that low approach rate reading as well.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options for Team Canada here. Again, they're just so good at free mod because they've got players that can just, I mean, they can play hidden, they can play hard rock, they can play hidden hard rock. So, you just gotta worry about not overmodding too much, though. You don't want to take unnecessary risks, but Canada definitely want to take advantage of their strengths here, so we're definitely gonna be seeing some sort of overmod on the side of Canada. I would be surprised not to. And there it is, yup, HDHR for Repulsion and Sorry.
Sorry, triple hidden hard rock for Canada.
Okay, you gotta appreciate Xylus going, okay, you absolute fiends, hold on, I'm not going hidden hard rock, I'll just take hidden.
He has to. He has to take it.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. That's right. This is the rules. This is
the maximum number of mods allowed on any free mod pick. Full 7 mods for Canada. The maximum over mod potential is here.
Versus the minimum. We have maximum versus minimum, and you can see already on the score line, Canada just taking off. That miss from Suntan is pretty massive, though. If you're the minimum, you are banking on the combo game.
As predicted, though, Unable on the hard rock, number 37 on the hidden, Gonza, Suntan on no mod. Definitely Suntan looking very uncomfortable on this at the start, though. 91 accuracy, finding more and more misses. And Gonza not having the best run on this either. A quarter of the way in, already finding a break. Gonza, typically a very good reading player, so not what you would expect from him. It is matched by a miss from Sorry, but definitely a rough start for Chile on this first pick.
Yeah, a rough start indeed, and even though that miss from Sorry does come out, the score advantage is still flying the way of Canada. Suntan consistently missing. They're going to need to see drops from Zudi, Xylus, or Repulsion, one of the three, to keep their hopes alive here. Halfway mark, so if they find drops here, it could open the door. Sorry is going to find another one. Repulsion is also going to find one. That's going to open things up a little bit, but Canada should still maintain a comfortable margin here into the second half of the map.
Yeah, look at the act for the Canadian roster as well. Xylus does trade a miss with Unable, though. It's number 37 and Zudinator, the only 2 full combos left, and better combo on Gonza than anyone on the side of Team Canada. But the overall accuracy for those hidden hard rock plays is still very good, and that mod advantage does still bring you a little bit of extra score, especially when you find repeated misses on Unable for Chile, unable to keep a combo. As the rest of the team really does need that extra little bit of combo here with the under mod for Chile.
Yeah, and it's not going to be enough for Chile to pull this one back. They were able to stop the bleeding and tug it back a little bit, but unfortunately that's all they would be able to do. Just not of consistency. But Zudi and number 37 coming to the end with FCs intact. They both bring him home. FC apiece. Canada leads 2-0.
The full mod, the full 7 mod over mod works out for Canada. This is the tricky part about picking free mod into this roster is, yeah, okay, sure, you get to play the AR8 map for yourself, but you give Canada a hidden hard rock map. And this team, this whole roster is incredibly good, incredibly consistent on hidden hard rock. And that is the difficult part about picking these free mods into Canada. You saw that map was much closer, though. Much closer than the previous one. So still a good pick from Chile, but just not enough gas in the tank.
Yeah, and you know, Chile was probably banking on Canada having at least 1 or probably 2 hidden hard rocks, right? They were probably banking on some sort of overmod. I don't think they planned on Canada to just full send and go max overmod. But I assume when they saw that, they were probably happy because, you know, if they max overmod and you have consistency issues, that can open the door even to a team just on the min mod. And that was the most competitive map of the match, only about a 350 to 400k margin. Canada, next pick, double time 1.
Yeah, Canada's just going to pick aim maps over and over again. This is an aim team. This is an aim consistency team. And they are going to abuse that fact versus Chile, who really lack a solid aim roster. Even on DT, which is a mod where Chile has traditionally been good. You know, missing some of the players that you usually expect to find on this roster. Matthew Intercambing and Daniel all gone from this roster. So truly a rebuilding year for Chile. And a lot of these players just not traditionally aim players in tournament. The exact opposite for Canada. Lots of very, very good DT aim players in particular. Lots of really, really good hidden hard rock aim players in particular. So you're going to find a lot better of a roster for Canada on this map, and I'm expecting this to go the same way as their first pick, honestly speaking. We could see an upset for Chile, but, you know, it's a small chance. It's a slim chance.
Yeah, Nick stepping in for Canada, so going to be seeing a substitution. Nick's first map of the match. We'll see who Canada... It's going to be Ryuke. No shock there.
All of these players, Xylus and Ryuke in particular, DT players, DT mains. Not necessarily DT aim players, but DT mains. Zuri and Nick, not necessarily DT players, but very good aim players. So will be in for maps like this regardless, because they have the aim necessary to put up very, very good scores on these types of maps. In fact, Xylus, Zudinator, and Ryuke found a 3-way full combo on the DT1 in qualifiers. So if you're looking towards a team to be very consistent on a map like this, look no further than Canada, who had an incredibly good 4 million team score on the DT1 in quals.
Well, here we go. Start command is in from referee Tiger Eyes. Get us started in round number 3. Canada picking double time. Again, as you noted, into Chile's wheelhouse a little bit, but with overlapping skill sets and with the way Canada's been playing and their confidence and their morale, definitely justifies the pick. And Ryuke and Xylus are going to be cheating here, getting a little bit of a head start on everybody. Stop that. No, no, no. False start. 5-yard penalty. Thankfully, Client can do Client things for us. And it'll just be a lone miss from Ayunha to separate the two teams at the start.
Yeah, for Chile on this sort of map, again, even though it's in DT, the type of map it is really favors Canada, so you're very much favoring or just hoping for some uncharacteristics out of this Canadian roster, but unfortunately they seem to be coming out of Chile for now. Ryuke is going to match one of the misses from Yuna and Gonza, but that is still 3 full combos to 2 in the favor of Canada.
Yeah, Canada looking good now, but those misses coming in. That's a double miss from Nick and Xylus, only traded by Ayunha. That's going to favor Chile. Zudi, the only combo left standing, and it's against Poncho and Unable. Chile in front for their first time of the match, nearing the halfway point.
Yeah, you want to find those uncharacteristic misses for Canada if you are rooting for Chile. There they are, Xylus and Nick not able to hold on to the combos. Poncho, however, going to trade it back for Chile. So it's just Unable and Zudinator at the moment. Unable, a very, very good mechanics player, very good DT player. Gonza backing him up as well. Gonza, not necessarily a DT aim player, but a very good DT speed player in general. So as long as he's good on the aim consistency, this should go well. And more misses to come out from Nick on Canada.
Yeah, now it's reaching a do-or-die situation here, but fortunately for Canada, the margin is still within reach, but the final third of the map is approaching. They are running out of time, and Nick is struggling. Zuda doing everything she can. Ryuke rebuilding combo, but unable. And Poncho and Gonza have other ideas with a 70k lead.
Yeah, this is a very small score lead, though, for Chile. Any miss, especially something from Unable or Gonza, would instantly
Poncho.
flip it back over to Canada. Poncho does find one.
Oh, multiple, but thankfully... Oh, Gonzo does go down too! Here comes Canada! A chance to flip it! At the end, Nick is gonna miss! Traded by Unable, that's huge for Canada! They flip it! Zudi, Ryuke, and Xylus pulling it back. There is no combo on Chile's side as Ayunha goes down. It'll be 3-0 Canada. Heartbreaking for Chile.
It was so close until it wasn't at the
Until
end.
it wasn't.
And then everyone on Chile broke just 30 seconds before the ending. They were unable to hold on to their nerves, unable, dropping the slider break. Everybody else dropping a miss there right at the end for Chile. And it's, again, the team consistency for Canada. Those three players in the top right for Canada, Xylus, Zudinator, and Ryuke. The three who full comboed DT1 in qualifiers get their three best scores and bring them over the finish line. A little bit closer than you might have expected for Canada. It's not even a bad score for them, 3.3 million on that. But Chile popping off, finding nearly just over 3 million on that map. Putting up a very, very good team score. Very impressive plays from Chile. Almost managing to take a break point against Canada.
Missed it by that much. Very close. I mean, like you said, it was close until it wasn't. But, I mean, to go back to that team consistency of Canada, I mean, that's what you need. You need people to have combo. You need players to be in position to capitalize when you're trailing. So, Canada just demonstrating consistency quite well. And once Chile broke, there was nothing left. The dam was not able to stop the flood. And Canada sweep in, take a third point. Now they are looking to put some more pressure on.
At this point, you're looking at Chile to make this pick count. I mean, if you lose this and you are Chile, you are down 4-0. That is match point. Canada has the next pick. So this is a very important point for Chile. They really want to make this one count. I see three options left up. The hidden one, the DT3, and the free mod 2. If they're feeling the speed, either that DT or the free mod 2. But they're going to go for something entirely different. No mod 4. Wow, I was not expecting this one. And you can't blame me for being a little bit surprised here. Canada, 660k score difference on the first run of qualifiers. Remember, in OWC, teams have 2 runs through the qualifiers, and on the second run for both of these teams, 1.2 million score difference through the qualifiers, no mod 4. So on paper, this should be a pick for Canada. This should be a pick that Canada looks to as something that they have an overwhelming on-paper advantage on. But Chile looking to surprise us with an unexpected pick here on the No Mod 4. This is a map that some of them have probably played in tournaments before. This is one of very few non-custom maps in this map pool. This has been used in some community tournaments before. Specifically, the biggest one would be the Perennial, where it has been used already this year. So some of these players may have already played this map for both of these teams, as it has been found in some community tournaments. And you know, maybe going with something that they recognize a little bit more, something that feels a little more comfortable to them, in spite of the on-paper score advantage looking at the qualifiers for Canada.
Again, we see the cat jams coming in. This map hasn't been picked too much this weekend. It's a good song, good map. We also get to see a new substitution for Canada, Yip, coming in.
No surprises to see Yip in on this map. Very, very good tech player for Yip, and somebody who basically only comes in for tech maps and maybe a precision map here and there. Extremely good at those few maps that he plays, so expecting a good score from him on this one. And of course, Xylus, Zudinator, Ryuke. No surprises to see any of them in here. It's going to be Nick, though, subbing in for Ryuke on this one. A little bit interesting there. Nick did not play the tech map in qualifiers, but is generally a relatively good player anyway, and on a map like this, which does really heavily focus on that slider aim, I don't think any big surprises there. Gonza unable, Poncho, and Suntan in here. Lots of no-mod players and all-rounders in for Chile on this map. Gonza just generally a very good player for them, so not surprised to see him in on any of these picks.
Well, here we go. No mod 4. Chile backs against the wall. If they don't get this point, this could potentially be their last pick of the match. 2.5 minutes in length.
For those of you who haven't seen this map yet, this one starts off a little bit slow, starts to get into lots of this really ridiculous slider aim and slider streams, and then in the second half really takes off with super long, super fast sliders in the back half, and already a few misses to come through.
Yeah, from Yip and Poncho, they are going to trade it. Accuracy advantage with Canada at the moment. It's still very close. First quarter of the map is almost already gone. That's how quick it is. Unable is going to find another drop. Yip is going to find a second miss. Nick trading. Things are going to be very even, but Suntan and Zudi trading. So all the misses have been traded. It's only Gonza and Xylus. Poncho is there as well, but Poncho goes down.
Unable also finding another miss there. Nick is going to trade one of them. Yip has about similar combo to any of the recently traded misses. Suntan is going to drop one more miss for Chile. It's the matching full combos, though, to really pay attention to here. Gonza and Xylus, if either of them break first, that is what's going to be the major swing in score during the back half of this map. We have a little bit of a slow section here before we get into some of those really, really high velocity, super long sliders in the second half of this map. Hopefully nobody missing on this slow part, though.
Still very close. It's only about a 60 to 70,000 point advantage for Canada. They will build a little more score here. But as you said, a miss comes out from either Xylus or Gonza, and the floodgates are open. But Canada have slightly better supporting combos than Chile at the moment. So now the lead has grown to about 100k. Suntan finding a miss. Gonza breaks, and that is massive. Chile's hopes may have just been dashed unless we see multiple misses from Canada, and one of them is Xylus.
Yeah, Xylus has to break at this point, but the rest of the roster as well, all on over 400 combo for Canada, and it's reflected in the score lead. 400,000 score up and climbing for Canada. They all hit that first long slider. Xylus does find the slider break, but it doesn't matter at this point. The score lead's just too big, Doland, and I think this one may as well be over. Unable drops the last big combo for Chile, and that is going to bring Canada to a 4-0. Looking to complete the clean sweep, our first clean sweep of the round of 32 if Canada is able to pull it off.
Yeah, we have not had a sweep yet. Canada up 4-0 at match point with the pick. That was a break point. They seem primed to do so. Question is, what will be their choice here? And it looks like Xylus rolling too, so it looks like they had it narrowed down to 2 maps.
I'm thinking one of the AIM maps that's left up has to be the pick for them, although I just saw Curtis join the lobby, so maybe this is something like a DT pick. And there it is, actually, DT3 for Canada. Curtis, the speed specialist for Canada, literally only on this team to play DT, speed, and any other speed maps that have to make their way into the pool. A little bit of an interesting pick, given what we know about Team Chile, but I think Canada generally favored overall in the matchup, generally the more consistent team, generally the higher skill cap team, going to be sitting pretty comfortably on any of these maps in this pool.
Yeah, we saw the last DT pick. It was heavily contested by Chile, but in the end went the way of Canada just because the overall consistency. Canada getting their new blood in these last few maps here. Looking to get Curtis some time. And again, Chile just haven't had many subs either. It's been mostly these 4 players in the lobby now for the past several maps.
Definitely expecting a couple of subs at least for this roster. Poncho definitely makes sense. Suntan definitely makes sense to be in here. And, well, actually, Unable is also a DT player, so never mind. I think the only person you would consider subbing in is maybe Yunha, but has not had the best of matches for Yunha, so sticking with these 4 players still makes a lot of sense for Chile. 4 of their best speed players and DT players, so hopefully they are able to take 1 point in this matchup and stop the clean sweep from Canada. But if you are rooting for a clean sweep, if you had 5-0 in your pick'ems, you're definitely looking at this Canadian roster and saying, yeah, that's my roster. These are some good players. These are some very good speed players. And hopefully they will be able to finish it out cleanly. Waiting on perhaps one last swap for Chile. Looks like Truck Gamer coming in.
Truck Gamer coming in. And don't worry, guys. Xylus agreeing to give them a point if they can 4-way FC. A very fair and reasonable man.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, you want a free point? Just 4-way.
Yeah,
okay.
FC. All right, sure. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Why not? Well, they might have to. I mean, this is a very good roster for Canada. But one thing to note, I mean, you see this with a lot of speed specialists, right? It's kind of the same deal with Suwada on the USA team. Curtis, a speed specialist, but not a very good aim player. does have the tendency to sometimes shake a bit during speed plays and miss aim and then hit the rest of the map with 99.7% accuracy, right? So maybe you see something like that happen in this match and Chile is able to take advantage, but generally speaking, this is a very scary roster for Canada. Ryuke, Xylus, Curtis, all very, very good speed players, and Zudinator, this is not a map that is hard enough on the speed to speed gate her just yet, despite Zudi really not being a speed player overall. I think she's still going to be pretty comfortable on this map. And already an early miss from Poncho, so not off to the best of starts for Chile, but they're just shaking the nerves off. They're just shaking the nerves off.
Yeah, still very early days here. It is a very short map with double time applied, only 2 minutes and 20 seconds with DT. A very early lead for Canada. Poncho is going to find a second miss to further extend the lead for Canada here. But it's still trouble for Chile.
He's really shaking the nerves off right now. He's just really taking his time to shake the nerves off, guys. Don't worry.
It's the double Apraxia method.
Exactly.
Anyway, Canada's still four-waying, though. I mean, none of this matters if Canada four-ways.
Accuracy for Canada, very good as well. 99% on both Curtis and Zudinator. Xylus and Ryuke with a couple of act drops here and there, but still above 98 with no real troubles. Only Gonza above 99 for Chile right now, but it's still a three-way full combo for Chile. They are still keeping this close to their credit. This is why I considered the DT3 as a relatively good pick for Chile, but there goes Gonza. It's traded. Okay, it's traded.
All right, even Steve is still back where we were. But as you noted, Chile are still staying right there with them. They're not that far behind. Things are starting to get a little out of touch here, but if we see misses from Xylus, Ryuke, or Zudi, any of those three, two of those three drop, we're looking at a whole different game, but Unable goes down.
Yeah, Unable missing twice there, finding two separate misses, and now it's just Chalk Gamer against the world. 3 full combos to 1. There is good supporting combo on Poncho, but this is just not looking like a good pick for Chile. It's looking like a fantastic pick for Canada, though, who did pick this map with which to complete the full sweep. And they're looking pretty likely to do it at this point. Xylus, Zudi, and Ryuke all still holding the full combos, and no signs of any discomfort here going into the last few seconds of the map. This is going to be our first sweep of the OS World Cup round of 32. Canada 5-0ing Chile.
And they're going to do it in style here. Over 4 million points. A very, very dominant statement made by Canada here today. As you said, a 5-0 win. First sweep of the tournament. And they are going to carry a lot of momentum with them next week.
Yeah, Curtis, true to expectations, 1 miss, 99.5% accuracy. Very, very good score regardless, and still enough from the rest of the team to keep them above 4 million score. Very, very solid stuff from Canada. And this is really the expectation when you get some of these high seed versus low seed matchups, right, Dolan? This is kind of what you expect to see from seed 4 versus seed 29. Canada qualifying in as one of the tournament favorites, one of the few teams who we think in late stages can contest for that top 3 or that top 1 at the end of the tournament. And that is the kind of thing that really instills some confidence in a roster like this to make that deep run once again in 2022.
Yeah, well, I mean, based on what we've seen already, I mean, we still have yet to see some of the key powerhouses play in this tournament, but Canada's certainly looking better than other countries right now. I mean, that is the most dominant performance this weekend by a team yet. It has been quite a wild start to the World Cup, but let's see, which match is Canada awaiting the winner of?
They would be awaiting the winner of Norway versus United Kingdom. So they have a little bit of time left until that match actually comes up. I believe that one's at 19 UTC tomorrow. So they've got a little bit to wait on until they figure out their opponent. But either way, looking at a middle-seeded matchup for Canada in the winner's bracket round of 16.
Yep, and that is actually going to be the last match for today. Sadly, we only had 5 matches scheduled for this Saturday. Most of them are tomorrow. The next one, Australia versus Thailand, 12 hours from now at 7 UTC Sunday. So make sure you are going to be here for that one. Should be a good match after that, followed by South Korea and Spain, Hong Kong and Denmark, and Philippines versus Taiwan. I know that is going to be a big matchup, Dio.
Yes, it is. Very much looking forward to Philippines versus Taiwan. Looking forward to Norway versus the UK, and looking forward to Brazil versus Italy all tomorrow. But as you said, Dolan, before that, 7 UTC, about 12 hours from now, Australia versus Thailand, our next matchup. And again, if you want to support some of your favorite teams, whether they've played or not yet, check out the banners for the Aus World Cup this year. Also, check out the donation link. This is the first year that you can directly contribute to the Aus World Cup, so make the most of it while it is here and while we are still in early rounds. Dolan, that's about it. Anything else to add? I think we're about done for the day.
I think we are done indeed. That's going to do it. 5 games in the books to start off the 2022 Aus World Cup. Canada getting the 5-0 win over Chile. USA take a 5-2 win over Israel. We will be back in 12 hours. Australia versus Thailand. Follow the channel if you haven't so you get notified when we go live so you don't miss any World Cup action. For Dio, T1G, Trusk, and the crew, I'm Dolan, and we're going to be signing off for now. Bye-bye, guys.